Hey everyone, welcome back to another Mattel Jurassic World Dominion review. Today we're going to take a look at the new Ferocious pack, Rugops primus. It's always exciting to get a new species in the Jurassic World line, no matter how poorly executed they are. I do have a few issues with this figure, but I'll get into it a little bit later. I ended up finding this figure at Walmart. People also find this wave at Target. So if you're trying to hunt these figures down, those are the two places to start. I don't think they're available online yet, but when they are, I'll leave the links down below in the description. So let's go over the packaging really quick before we crack this figure open. We got Rexy right here. We got the Dominion logo, helicopter chasing Rexy at night. We got the actual species name on the packaging, which is pretty rare for any figure in the Mattel line. Actually, any Dinosaur toy line. Very few actually give the species name. And over here we have the other figures available in the wave. The Atrociraptor, the Metrodon, and the recently reviewed baby Nasutoceratops. So my Walmart put out a couple cases of these, and every single one of those Dimetrodons is still hanging on the shelf. All three of these other figures have already been purchased, and there's just a bunch of Dimetrodons hanging on the shelves. I guess everyone got their fill of Dimetrodon with the one that came with Alan Grant and the battle damage one. Crazy how a couple years ago the Dimetrodon, well, the original was just going for a ton of money. So enough about the packaging. Let's crack this thing open and take a closer look. And let's start on this 360-degree view of the Rugops. Yeah, I got a lot of weird feelings about this figure. I don't like it. Right out the box, it does not stand at all. You can see I do have some poster tack just to keep it on the turntable. It's just the legs were warped right out of the packaging. I can easily fix it with some hot cold water treatment. The color scheme is just so bland. It is the epitome of a mayo and white bread sandwich in dinosaur toy form. It's just really bland, doesn't stand out. You just have this like grayish, green plastic and just a little bit of black highlights, and that is it for color. It's just super bland. It's just gonna disappear in your display. Mattel definitely has the things for abelisaurs. They've done quite a few of them, and we got more coming down the line. And it's always nice to see this species of genus theropods getting more attention. It's just not a great executed figure. The skull shape is kind of okay. Got some issues with the skull. We'll get into that a little bit later. The two claws on the hand is just completely unacceptable. And we have extensive skin impressions from Carnotaurus, and there's no evidence of feathers on abelisaurs. So this thing's covered in feathers, which really doesn't bother me. It's just figure can't stand, head shape, the arms, blah blah blah, color looks like poop. So yeah, really not my favorite figure in the line right now. And now for some measurements. This figure is 7.5 inches long, or about 19 centimeters, and about 3 inches tall, or just over 7.5 centimeters. So Rugops is estimated between 14.4 feet to 17.4 feet, or 4.4 meters to 5.3 meters. So that'll put this figure somewhere in the 123 to the 127 scale range. And now let's zoom in and take a look at the ugly mug on this figure. Rugops is only known from a partial skull. Now the front half of the sculpt looks pretty similar to the Rugops skull, but then you get right here where the eye is, and the temporal fenestra is just completely missing. The skull stops here, so it really gives it a really odd shape. I just wish Mattel would just use maybe basic anatomy when sculpting their figures. Just looks really off. It just stops right behind the orbit. Very odd looking. You do have like a little nasal crest display on top. I don't mind that artistic liberty. Some more feathers popping up in the top of the neck. The teeth are oversized, which is typical for most Mattel toys. Remember, these are kids' toys. They are painted off-white color inside the mouth. You do have a nicely textured tongue that's done in glossy pink paint. The gums on the side are also done. Roof of the mouth is the same grayish green, puke colored plastic. Here's a view from the top. You do see some finely sculpted details on the top of the head. The eye is painted orange with a black pupil, and then going down, you got more of just that puke colored green. Just looks like bile. It's just not an appealing, eye-catching figure. It just does not look good. And even though it's only known for a partial skull, we have a lot more material from other species of abelisaurs. And two fingers on the hand, just absolutely unacceptable. Just a generic Tyrannosaur hand. Just do not like that. Oh, that really turned me off to the figure. And then you get some more feathering sculpted in. You got a little bit of black paint. And the tail's actually painted black. Imagine that. I would think it just, the paint would stop here and just go back to green. So yeah, just a really boring paint scheme on this figure. Then going down to the feet, the dew claw is upturned, which is really odd. No paint on the toe claws. On the underside, you do have some nice fine scale detail. Some more of those featherings on the tail and top of the back. And right here is the scan code for those who want to scan it into the fax app. And let's just go over articulation really quick. The neck is on a hinge. You can look up, it can look down, mouth can close flush, and it can open up that far. The stupid T-Rex hands can move forwards and backwards, and the hind legs can move backwards and forwards. You do have a locking point to keep in the neutral position. It really doesn't matter on this figure because it can't stand on its own, and you do have pointless rotation at the tail. Moving on with comparisons, here it is one of the human figures. Here it is with Sarah Harding, and next up here it is with the extreme damage Dimetrodon. And here it is with some fellow abelisaurs, Carnotaurus, Rogersaurus, and Scorpio Venator. I think out of all the abelisaurs Mattel has done, the Scorpio Venator is my favorite. And here it is with the 2002 class Hall of Shame. I have to say, there's a lot of figures in the Dominion line I did not like this year, way more than any other line Mattel has put out. And I think it's just the sculpts have been, here and there. It's just the paint apps have been absolutely abysmal in the Hammond collection. Shows us what a couple dollars more in the budget can do. They give really nice paint apps on those figures. And, these are articulated. They have no gimmicks on most of these, on all these Ferocious pack figures. And they just have literally the worst paint jobs ever. And lastly, here it is with some Eccar formation dinosaurs. That's the formation Rugops was found in. It is obviously from Africa because we got Spinosaurus and Carcharodontosaurus. So little Rugops here was splashing around an ecosystem with some pretty popular dinos. So final thoughts on Rugops. Yeah, I do not like this figure. I'm glad I added a new species to my collection, but that's just about it I get from this figure. Just a really bad sculpt, just hideous paint job. It's just so bland, doesn't stand out. And the worst part is this figure doesn't stand out of the packaging. I have to use 2 pieces of post-attack just to keep it standing for this review, which is a shame. That's just probably due how it's stored in the package, and the legs probably warp. I'm gonna mess around with some hot and cold treatment, see if I can get this thing to stand. But overall, not impressed. It's not my least favorite of this year's dinosaurs, but is pretty close to the bottom of that list. And like I said earlier, if you want to go pick up this figure and be disappointed yourself, people are finding them at Target and Walmart, so happy hunting. So that will do it for the review. I think I'm all caught up with all the current, screw you, with all the current Mattel releases. I got all the new Beasts of the Mesozoic 1/18 scale figures coming. They just shipped yesterday. Should probably have them by either tomorrow or Saturday. So be on the lookout for reviews of all those. I'm really excited for those 1/18 scale Raptor figures. So that will do it. As always, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously and it's greatly appreciated. And I'll see you guys for the next one.